Always a pleasure to come out and hang out at St. Matthews Cycling. Todd here with us today to give us some insight on how to keep the bike running on the road. Now, Todd, we were talking about the idea of people coming in and get a full tune-up. Kind of talk me through what that is, first of all, before we move into some specific services.
Yeah, sure. So a basic standard tune-up, we will go through when you come in and kind of ask what's going on with your bike, get some insight from you, and then just do a check over the bike to kind of let you know. So like some of the stuff that we're going to do is check and make sure that your brakes are working properly and hitting the rim where they're supposed to. We're going to make sure your shifters actually move things when we click buttons, and then go through the rest of the bike. As far as the tune-up, we'll start with the wheels, make sure that they're true, and then we're going to work on your drivetrain to make sure it shifts properly, and then that you brake properly, make sure everything's clean, and get the bike back to you. And that's basically our standard tune-up.
And I know that you guys always do your due diligence, so for you to do a full tune-up on a bike, that takes a little bit more time than it would if someone were to come in and do something more specific. So I want to talk about the a la carte services that you guys have that some of you might not be aware of. You don't have to do a full tune-up every time you bring in your bike. You can come in and get some specific work done.
Yeah, if you just notice it's not braking properly, don't wait until you need a full tune-up. Bring that guy in and we could just work on that specifically. It doesn't cost as much, and then also the turnaround time is going to be a lot less to keep you out on the road. It also could be you come in and the major thing is your brakes aren't working, but it needs other things. We can get your brakes working and then schedule you to come back after you've done that ride that you have already scheduled with your family or whatever it is.
I imagine the brakes are a fairly common thing that you have to repair, but what are some of the other things that you see people bringing in needing specific service?
It's definitely like shifting issues. It doesn't shift properly when you shift, or the bike itself, as you're riding, it tends to try to go in between a couple different gears. Some adjustments like that will fix issues. And then it could be that things aren't tight. It's like the crankset itself, it feels a little loose, or the headset here feels loose and doesn't stay tight when you turn.
So people should, on some level, think of their bike similar to a car, where you don't have to take it in for a full service every time. It's perfectly appropriate to come in for specific spot checks.
Exactly. Most of that kind of stuff we can tend to turn around same day, if not next day. So if I can't get it to it in that day, it'd be one of the first things that happen the next morning, and we can get it back to them.
So I'm glad you said that, because for the customer, that's such a benefit. Talk to them about the ability for them to call in and say, hey, I'm going to bring you my bike. I'm thinking I'm having a brake issue, because that allows you to pre-plan and be ready, so that customer then doesn't have to wait a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like if you're traveling, if we have customers that live a bit distance from here, 45 minutes to an hour, they can kind of give us a heads up that, hey, I want to bring my bike in. That's something that we can prep for and make sure that I have the staffing to make sure that we can do that. And they can bring their bike in, they can drop it off, we can fix it, and they can take it home same day instead of doing that trip twice.
So remind everybody where they can find you.
We're here at St. Matthews Cycling, 131 St. Matthews Avenue.
What he said.